Rolex surprised us with the release of the new Deepsea Challenge, not because they're answering back Omega's Ultra Deep, because we kind of expected that, nor was this leaked anywhere, which is, well, kind of surprising in that way, but rather of something else that we've seen before. Let's begin with what we expected. The Rolex promotional ad opens with the words, "It's one of a kind, innovative, unrivaled." Well, these are bold claims from Rolex, knowing that the Deepsea has been rivaled and spec-wise surpassed by the Omega Ultra Deep a few months ago. So let's begin with a comparison between the two now that Rolex threw in their bigger prize fighter onto the ring. At 50 millimeters in diameter, this is Rolex's biggest commercially commercially offered watch. This is over 4 millimeters bigger than the Omega Deepsea. The thickness is 23 millimeters compared to the Ultra Deep's 18.1 millimeters. As we approach frightening case heights ever so closer to a small watch's diameter, the logic becomes clear as we get to the depth rating. The new Deepsea has an astounding 11,000 meter water resistance, almost double that of the 6,000 meters of the Ultra Deep. Flexing at its pinnacle, when Rolex can say ours is not just bigger, it's twice the pleasure too. With that kind of size, the weight is also understandably twice as much as 251 grams compared to the Ultra Deep's 123 grams. But then again, the Ultra Deep comes at a fabric strap. Inside is the caliber 3230 that's used in other models such as the Explorer, OP, and Note 8 Sub. This has a 70-hour power reserve opposed to the 60 of Omega's Meta's caliber 8912. Omega's movement offers a 25,200 bph while the newer 3230 is measured at 28,800. Both are anti-magnetic, with Omega boasting 15,000 Gauss while I couldn't find any rating for the 3230. The new Ultra Deep will set you back $12,300, granted that you can get one at your Omega boutique. While there are reports that this is getting harder to get, there seems to be an equal number of reports and sightings on display cases. The new Deepsea Challenge will cost twice as this, coming in at $26,000, with availability being harder to find than a mythical rainbow-horned walrus. If you're LeBron James, Ed Sheeran, or have a mythical rainbow-horned walrus to trade in, you can get this Deepsea Challenge this month. Now let's explore the changes in this model. First off, the sapphire crystal is promoted as having a 9.5mm thickness. This ensures that water won't enter into this case, and so will this watch enter your sleeve. The textures are varied from the gloss finish of the ceramic bezel to the polished chamfers of the case. This also has brushed sides opposed to the polished sides of the oyster steel Deepsea. Interestingly, the dial is finished in matte black rather than shiny tones in the previous models. It still has the ring lock system that frames this dial, which is more functional than you think. This actually helps the structural integrity of the case. Behind is the case back with the engraving Mariana Trench and dive dates that pays homage to the milestones in diving history that involves Rolex. The crown has a new signature used on this model. It uses 2 dots and a dash in the middle. This is used to represent the material used in this timepiece, and that brings us to our last point. This is the first full titanium watch that Rolex has released to the public. There has been sightings of a titanium Yachtmaster as it was worn by Sir Ben Ainslie. However, this is a field-tested prototype and was never offered to the public. It has been speculated for the longest while that the new Yachtmaster may finally be Rolex's first commercial titanium watch, but that is not to be. Titanium has always been positioned as a technical and space-age material for its lightweight and durability. In recent years, this has been changing as more and more manufacturers are able to mill this material and is penetrating the luxury market. Rolex dubs this as the RLX Titanium. This is a very thinly veiled attempt to call this blend of titanium as Rolex metal, but this is grade 5 titanium that not only makes it durable, it's also possible to achieve polished surfaces. Another thing with this titanium case is that the weight is extremely light for its impression. At 50mm, it will be strange to wear on the wrist. Hodinkee has some wrist shots, and it's pretty clear that garments out there are quaking in their lugs as this can knock their wrist impressions out. While your mind is shackled to the weight of the metal on your wrist, according to Anthony, he swears that he could still lift his arm just fine. By comparison, this is lighter than a Platinum Daytona or a Gold Skydweller, but visually, it can cram 2 Daytonas with its case thickness. At 61mm in lug distance, it's much longer than any of the Daytonas. And now for a visual treat that you can find nowhere else but this channel. Here's how it compares to the 54mm diameter, 23mm thick Invicta Venom. This frames the purpose of this watch quite specifically. It will not fit wrists under 7 inches, and being a Rolex sports watch, it's going to be hard to find much more to get. Then there's the fact that it's Rolex's first titanium watch, and now you have an equation that translates to an elite collectible Rolex. As much as some Ferraris will be relegated as museum pieces, this Deepsea Challenge could be the most unwearable safe queen your $26,000 can get. That or a rainbow-horned walrus. Rolex also updated the Oyster Steel Deepsea models, and so far I couldn't see anything that's different from it. Let me know in the comments below, or maybe we'll talk about it some way, somehow, in some other video. But what do you think? Do you think this new Rolex Deepsea Challenge is even wearable? Is it worth $26,000? Of course, most people would say not, but nevertheless, it's a good discussion in our comment section below. Well, I know Federico's not happy about it, although surprisingly he praised it for some other reasons. Go to his video and check it out.
I mean, it's innovation. You broke a record, but in a non-useful way. A, because 11,000 meters of water resistance isn't useful, and B, because a 50mm watch isn't useful. All in a market where watch sizes are trending downwards.
True.
You innovated just to say you innovated, but you didn't make anything particularly useful. Why don't you come up with another triple calendar like you guys have in the past?
Federico loves Rolex.